Okay, y'all. This is the second week two video. I've changed angles. It is 12:09 a.m., but I really want to get this done. So, for the benefit of my Session B fall 2024 students, and I'm just going to talk for a couple of minutes in this one, and I promise it's not going to be nearly as long as the one that I just posted about doing your first dialogue post. I want to talk for just a minute about AI. And for those of you who don't even know what that means, it's artificial intelligence. So, about, gosh, almost 2 years ago, January of 2023, I think it was, ChatGPT roared onto the scene. And if you don't know anything about ChatGPT, that is a computer program. You can get an app for it on your phone. You can go to the website on a computer, put in a topic. So, for example, you could put in um, write two paragraphs on the following topic. What is grit and why should Christian leaders develop grit? And it will, within seconds, spit out two paragraphs of a response. And then the really creative students will just like throw in a couple of sources from the course material. It's happened multiple times. And so, obviously, as a writing teacher, um, and as someone who works at a Christian university, it's it's really disappointing that we've gotten to a point where students find it that easy to be that unethical. Um, and I don't want to sound like a little old lady who doesn't understand artificial intelligence. I know it has amazing uses. I know that there are really cool things that you can do with it. When we're traveling with our kids, and we like to travel a lot. We travel a lot during the summer and we drive long distances. Um, my husband will have Chat GPT like write little silly stories for our kids that they think are just hysterical. And that is the least of the good things that AI can do, the very least. Um, but when it comes to being, especially an online writing instructor, uh, AI is a huge bummer, and it makes teaching that much harder. um, because I find that a lot of my energy is spent trying to figure out if a student has used AI. And it takes a lot of time to do that. And so, what I've decided on over the past few semesters of dealing with this is that I will not take on the burden of that anymore, that the onus has to be on the student. And a couple of important things. If you have a piece of writing that is flagged, first of all, I want you to know that I check at least three different AI detectors before I reach out to a student and say, here's what happened. I have three that I like. If one flags it and the other two don't, I'll go, okay, well, maybe that one's a fluke. But if two out of three flag a piece of writing for AI, then I have developed a standard protocol that I follow, and it's helped my sanity, honestly. And I understand that some students may feel that it's unfair. Um, I don't think it is. And I'll tell you what the protocol is so that no one is surprised. Automatically, um, and I do this for a couple of reasons, me and my rabbit trails. Uh, I find that a lot of students don't answer their email, don't check their email. And I find that the most effective way to get a student's attention when there's a situation like that is to put a zero in the grade book. Very few students are going to see a zero and ignore it. I also do that zero because if a student has purposefully, knowingly used AI to create writing, and then they've submitted it as their own. I want them to see the repercussions of that choice in their grade. And so I don't belabor that anymore like I used to. It's a zero. And what I will do is in the grading comment, I will say something to the effect of, thank you so much for submitting this work. I'm afraid that your writing has been flagged as having been written by artificial intelligence or AI. Please email me and let me know what you think happened. Um, because I've learned from having children that it's better if I don't put any assumptions on what happened. And so I don't. Now, sometimes it's so obvious, so egregious that a student has flagrantly used AI that I'm just like, I mean, you can tell me how, but I'm pretty sure, you put your topic into ChatGPT or something similar and it spit out an essay for you. I've had students in the same session basically turn in the same essay because they both did that. And so sometimes it's incredibly obvious. Sometimes I look at it and go, oh God, I just don't know, but this is what the detectors are telling me. And the detectors are not perfect, which is why I check three and don't rely on just one. Um, but if your writing is flagged and you see that zero and you feel that you haven't done anything wrong, we're going to talk about that through email. Again, we're not going to talk on the phone for multiple reasons. One is that it's really easy to get emotional. Um, and I always think it's better to take a breath, think about what you're going to write, and then send it when you're not so emotional. The other reason I've mentioned this before in an earlier video, I want a paper trail. Um, and that's to protect you and me. So I will require that that contact come through email and you can explain what happened. And you might say, you know what? I know I wasn't supposed to use Grammarly, but I got in a crunch and I did. And what I'm going to say to you in that situation, if it's Grammarly or any other editing software, I'm going to ask, do you have the original writing before you put it through Grammarly or whatever program? And 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, the answer is no. And I'm going to go, well, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to rewrite it then, and you're going to have to rewrite it using only the knowledge and skills that you possess. Um, because we live in a world, it's so easy to save work. Save your work. And then if you get help from someone, save it under a different name. Version 2. 5-paragraph essay, version 2. 5-paragraph essay with friends' help, whatever you need to call it. Save multiple versions. If it is an honest mistake, it's going to save you time and energy on the back end. So go ahead and protect yourself in that way. Protect your time and your sanity. If you haven't done any of that and you just feel like, you know what, I'm a strong writer and I write in a way that maybe the detectors are flagging it for AI when it is truly not, then that may be valid. And what I'll say to that is I need for everyone to go in and respond to the say hello um, prompt where you're introducing yourself to me and your classmates and give me a couple of paragraphs in there of how, like, the best example of your writing. Because the best way that I have to know, oh, this is a total fluke, is to see your writing in a forum where I'm pretty well certain that it is your writing. Now, we're taking this class online. I'm never going to see any of you face to face. If we were an in-person class, every single thing you write for me would be done in class with pen and paper. And that's just the sad reality of where we are. It really stinks. But I've had so many students flagrantly use AI since January of 23 that I can't be confident that it's not going to happen, even though this is a Christian university where students generally, I know not all students are Christians, but generally they are. And you would hope that the standard of behavior would be higher. But I have found that I've had enough students knowingly use AI that I just have to be super careful about it. And the thing is, it doesn't hurt me for you to use AI. This isn't about me. You are robbing yourself of the opportunity to develop skills that you may not already have. The whole point of being here is not to come through this class and be perfect at everything. That's not the purpose of any class. You're here to learn. You're here saying, I'm coming with a level of knowledge. And by the time I'm done, I hope that I'm up here somewhere. And in order for that to happen, you have to be able to take critique and you have to be able to take feedback and know, well, didn't do so great on that paper. So I need to learn some things. That's the whole point of this. This is why you're spending the money. Um, so I think some students get caught up in, I've got to do so well, I've got to be successful. And if I don't know how to do this, I'm just going to take a shortcut and not have to think about it. But you're doing yourself a disservice if you do that. So um, now, let's say a student has flagrantly used AI or has used editing software that has altered their writing to the point that it's not really their own anymore. And it happens. It happens every single class that I've taught in almost the past 2 years. You will get an opportunity to redo the work, but you will have to do the work yourself. And I'm going to have to see a real effort. So that zero is not necessarily there forever. Sadly, what I find to be true most often is the students who just use AI because they want the shortcut. They never, they don't respond to me. They just vanish. They don't finish the class. They fail. They lose their money. And that's not something that I'm imposing on them. That is a choice that they're making. Maybe they figure out, ooh, maybe it's not the right time for me, or this isn't the this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and I don't want to continue. Um, but that's really sad to me to waste that much money and that much time, and to be excited about something and then not see it through. So my best advice for you is to plan ahead. Because I think the reason why most students get into a bind and end up doing unethical things is because they just run out of time. They're not managing their time well. They're not planning ahead. They're not scheduling. When you get into the blueprint for college success, you're going to see a lot of different strategies. And, some of those include time management, buy a calendar. I just this well, I have it right here. How about that? Just this school year, my kids went back in late August, and I've struggled a little bit because I have a lot going on. I have a lot that I have to balance. I'm a small business owner. I work for Regent. I'm often teaching two classes, and I am a member of two different volunteer organizations. I'm a Virginia Beach Master Gardener, and I also sing in Virginia Beach Chorale. And I've got two kids and a husband, and we all have a lot going on. So what I did is I bought myself a weekly calendar. It's a whiteboard, and it was not that expensive. Um, and what I do is every week I sit down, usually on Sunday, and I write down every appointment that I have for the week. And then I look at my tasks that I need to do. Um, and I figure out, okay, what day am I going to have to get these things done? And I don't get everything done every week because I am human, just like everyone in this class. But it's a tool that I've found to help me. So, if I were you, every week I would sit down on whatever day works for you and figure out, okay, I have these things on these days. I have this thing due on this day. When do I need to start working on it? Because if you're not a strong writer, waiting until an hour before something is due is a recipe for absolute disaster. And it's not a mystery why a student might say, oh, I could be done with this in 5 minutes. And you go to Chat GPT and you're like, I'm just going to see. You type in the prompt, it spits it out, and you're like, well, that looks pretty great. So I'm just going to post that. Planning ahead, making time for your assignments, making a new routine with school fitting into it. Those are all things that you're going to have to do. I'm going to get off my soapbox any minute and go to bed. But I feel like it's important to have this conversation, one-sided conversation, unfortunately, because it really has changed online teaching, and so many of us have been pretty miserable because it makes our job so much harder. So, what I would encourage you to do, other than planning ahead, knowing which weeks you have the big assignments due, week 4, week 6, week 8. Week 8 is the goal setting assignment. I think honestly, it's your final assignment. I think it's less challenging for many students than the 5 paragraph essay in week 4 and the research paragraph in week 6. If I were you and I were not a competent writer, I would get on that Writing Center website, on the Regent website, the Writing Center page of the Regent website, and I would figure out how to make an appointment for late in week 3 or early in week 4, and late in week 5 or early in week 6, when those two big, more challenging assignments are going to be due. Um, you know, it's okay to need help. We all need help. We just all need help in different places. It's fine. There's no shame in saying, you know what, I think I'm going to really struggle to write this essay. And so I'm going to get the help that is provided to me as a benefit of being a student at Regent University. Um, and then I think the other important piece is it's okay, and I've already touched on this. It's okay for your work to not be perfect. It's okay for it to be flawed. I'm expecting that. What I do ask is that you do your best with the knowledge and resources you have available to you. And everyone in this class has a different skill level, a different knowledge level, different resources available. I have students who struggle to find a computer and have to do their work on their phone. It's not optimal. It's not great, but some students make it work. If you live in a place with a public library, if you're here local in Virginia Beach or one of the surrounding cities, we have the most amazing public libraries where you can go and do your work on a computer. Um, if you, and I know some places don't have great public libraries where you have that option, but figure out what your resources are and use them. And then the last thing I'll say is to communicate with me, because if I don't know that you're struggling, you might be on the verge of a panic attack over a writing assignment and have no idea where to start, no idea how to finish. But if I don't know, then I don't know, and I can't help you. So be in touch with me. If things happen in your life, if you have a death in your family or your close circle, let me know. Don't disappear on me. And then I'll eventually email you and go, hey, do you need anything? I'll start sending those emails soon for students who aren't participating. Um, but you never respond. I can't help you. And I know things happen, and sometimes students just can't. And the best thing for you and your mental health and your life is to just, you know what? It's not the right time. I gotta go. And that's okay too. But if you want to do this now. Communicate with me. Don't take the shortcuts that could lead to disaster. Okay. And the thing is, this is probably one of the first classes you're taking. And so the consequences are smaller here. As you get higher into your coursework, the consequences get greater. And we're going to dive into the whole plagiarism policy at Regent, I think during week 5. Um, but it's pretty serious. So take it seriously, put in your best effort, knowing it's not going to be perfect. And that's okay. I'm here to help you to grow in your skills. So 20 minutes, shortest video of the night. I'm going to end it here. But yeah, if you need anything, if you have any questions, please email me, sleland@regent.edu. It's on the syllabus. And, I'm here to help. So have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see y'all in the week 3 video/videos. We'll see what those end up being. Good night, y'all.